Hello everyone, welcome back to the 2018 Granny Square Crochet Along. Today we are making this gorgeous cactus flower. Yes, it looks a little bit like a poinsettia, but it is a cactus flower. Go and Google cactus flower and you will see that it is a bit like this, and it's not poinsettia like. That has more pointy petals. So this is what we're making today. You can choose any colours you like, but it does help to change colours a bit because it shows off sort of the design a bit. Okay, so we're going to make the flower and the leaves, and then ignore my ends here to sew in. We're then going to make the square attached to the back. So grab your yarn, your hook, your scissors and your tea or coffee, and let's get started. Okay, to start our square, I'm going to use the magic ring. You can, of course, chain 4 and slip stitch to your first chain to form a ring if you prefer to start that way. And then into the ring, we are going to make 10 single crochets, and that is as simple as this first round is. So 10 single crochet, and then slip stitch to your first stitch to close that round, and then you can either fasten off this colour if you want to leave your centre a different colour, or you can continue with the same colour in the next round. So I'm going to have a count of these, make sure I've got 10, and then I'll get back to you. Okay, and in case this is the first time you've ever used the magic ring, you want to just pull that centre and then do your slip stitch in your first stitch, and that's all there is to it. Just getting under that first stitch might be slightly tricky, and then do a slip stitch to close that round. Now I'm going to continue with the same colour for the next round, but if you want to change, then just fasten off and join your colour in any stitch. Okay, so if you have changed colour and joined, then wherever you've joined or wherever you are, if you're keeping the same colour, we're going to chain 1 and move to the next round, which is 2 single crochets in each stitch. So chain 1 there, and then do 2 single crochets in that same stitch, and then work around 2 single crochets in each stitch. So you will have 20 single crochets at the end of this round. And once again, you're going to slip stitch into your first stitch of this round. And there we go, 20 single crochets. So we're going to do the flower petal colour now. So obviously you could continue this in all in the same colour, but I've changed colour now to my flower petal colour. Okay, and changing colour just means that you see the pattern work a bit more. You'll see some effects happening, which looks quite nice. Okay, so if you are changing colour, just change and join into any stitch. Okay, so what we're going to do is I've just joined with a slip stitch, and now we're going to make a long single crochet, or a spike stitch as it's also known. We're going to make one of those into the single crochet of round 1. So if you look at your work, you will most likely have these holes, 1 for each stitch. Okay, so we're going to work down into the first stitch, so the first hole down there, if this chooses to focus. There we go, so we're going to work into that hole. Okay, so basically we're just going to pop our hook into that stitch and pull through, and then we're going to pull up to the height of what the stitch would be if we were doing it on this row where we are, and then do your single crochet just as so. Okay, just like normal. And then we are going to do a half double crochet in the next stitch on round 2. So okay, just having a quick check there. So we are going to be working a half double crochet into every stitch on this round 2, but we're going to do 2 half double crochets and then our long single crochet or spike stitch. Okay, so we're going to do a half double crochet into the next stitch stitch. Okay, so we're not skipping any stitch in place of that spike stitch. We're just going to do that in between. Okay, so we're going to do 2 half double crochets, 1 in each of the next 2 stitches. Okay, so spike stitch and then 2 half double crochets, and then we're going to do another single crochet, long single crochet spike stitch into the next single crochet down here. So once again it's that space there. So pop your hook in, yarn over, pull through, pull up to the height of the current round, and then do your single crochet. Okay, and then a half double crochet into the stitch right next to that, so not skipping any stitches at all, and then a half double crochet into the next stitch, and then once again a spike stitch into the stitch below, bring up, and there we go. Okay, so this is what you'll have, and you're going to do this all the way around. So 2 half double crochets and then a spike stitch, 2 half double crochets, then a spike stitch. Okay, and when you get round to the beginning, you're going to slip stitch into the first spike stitch, and I'll see you back around there. And when you get back to the end, you should have 10 of these spike stitches and 20 half double crochets. Okay, there we go, at the end of round 3, and you can see why I said if you change colour you can see more of the pattern there, which looks rather good, I reckon. Okay, so we're going to move on to making the actual petal parts now. So I'm going to stay with the same colour. Obviously you could change if you want to, and we are going to chain 4. And this counts as a single crochet and then a chain 3. Okay, now over the next 2 stitches, so well, our spike stitch here which we're coming from, and the next stitch we're going to do a 2 by 2 double crochet cluster. So what we're going to do is we've done 2 double crochet cluster before, where we do 2 incomplete double crochets into a stitch and then we pull through to make that cluster. But this time we're going to do the same in the second stitch, but we're going to keep the first one incomplete. So let's go through that step by step, because I know that probably sounds confusing. So yarn over, as for your double crochet, go into this first stitch here, yarn over, pull through, so there's 3 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, and then leave the last loop on your hook. So you will always have one on the one loop on your hook for the hook, and then one from your stitch. Okay, so then we're going to do a yarn over for the second double crochet, go into that same stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and we're leaving that last loop on the hook. So we've now got 3, and this is where we would normally then yarn over and pull through all 3 to complete our cluster. But instead we're going to yarn over and go into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and leave that last loop on the hook. Okay, we're going to do that once more in the same stitch. So yarn over, go into that stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and leave that last loop on the hook. So we did 4 incomplete double crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1 loop for the hook. So you've got 5 loops, yarn over and pull through all 5, and that's your 2 clusters together. Okay, so the rest of this petal, I will go through that with you once more. So the rest of this petal is a chain 3 Pico, so chain 3 and then go into the first chain and do a slip stitch, and that's your Pico. We've done those a bit recently as well. And then chain 3 and a single crochet into the next stitch down below, and that is your first petal. Now it looks a bit wonky perhaps, but it will all look good once we have the rest of the petals done. You can see that there. Okay, so let's go on to the next petal. Okay, so I was slightly wrong there. The chain 4 we're going to do on every petal. I think it's just to make it asymmetric and doesn't count as a single crochet, but hey ho. We're going to do a chain 4 on every petal. I thought it was just the first one, but it's not. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the same for all the petals around now. You're going to chain 4, and then we're going to do that 2 by 2 cluster again. So we are going to work into the next stitch now, which is your spike stitch. So we're going to yarn over, go into that stitch, yarn over, pull 3, yarn over, pull 3, 2. Yarn over, insert into the same stitch, yarn over, pull 3, yarn over, pull 3, 2. 3 loops left on your hook. Yarn over, go into the next stitch, yarn over, pull 3, yarn over, pull 3, 2. Yarn over, go into the same stitch, yarn over, pull 3, yarn over, pull 3, 2. And you've now got 5 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through all 5. And that is as simple as that stitch is. It sounds more confusing and complicated than it really is. So never worry when you hear a description, just work through it step by step. Okay, so then we're going to do our picot, so chain 3 and slip stitch into that first chain and chain 3 and single crochet in the next stitch. And there we go. Petal number 2. Okay, so work that around, just rewind that couple of minutes and repeat this all the way around for 10 petals. And when you get back to the start, you are going to do a single crochet in the base of this first stitch where you did your chain 4 from. You're going to do a single crochet in there and slip stitch to that bottom chain. Okay, 10 petals, finishing with single crochet and slip stitch to the chain. So you should now have something a bit like this. Looking good. Now if yours is all sort of, you know, bent up, don't worry about it too much. If you lay it down, it will flatten. It will flatten. So don't panic about that too much. It will all be fine. We've done several squares now that seem to bunch up a bit, but they all come good in the end. So there we go, that's better. So we're going to do the leaves now. So I have fastened off and I have joined my new colour yarn in a single crochet. So these single crochets that are between your petals, you want to work join your colour into one of those. Okay, and we're going to do a long single crochet or spike stitch, as I've been calling it. So I'm sorry that I'm calling it differently to what the pattern is, but it's a spike stitch, as well as known as long single crochet. Okay, so we are going to do one of those into the bottom of this stitch. So go into the bottom, so again in this gap, you see that gap there at the bottom, you're just going to go into there, the bottom of that single crochet, yarn over, pull through, pull up to the top of that stitch and pull through for your single crochet. And then we are going to make a leaf. And we're going to be working behind the petals, okay? So we're going to chain 8. Chain 8, and then we're going to do a single crochet in the second chain from the hook. So we're working back into this chain, and we're going to do a single crochet in this second chain. And then a half double crochet in the next 2 chains. 1 and 2. and then a double crochet in the next 2 chains. Oops. Can be a little bit fiddly, but just persevere with this and you'll get there. We did something similar on a square recently. I can't remember which square it was, but we did this recently. Oh, for our star. We did it for our star. Okay, and then you're going to do a treble crochet in each of the next 2 chains. Oops. And where's my last chain? Okay. I've lost a chain. Okay, I think I might have lost a chain somewhere or not done as many, so I've just done 2 into my last one, which is absolutely fine if you need to do that, okay? So I'm just showing you. I just like to show you ways around problems. Okay, so we did a chain of 8 and then we skipped the first chain and then we did a single crochet, 2 half double crochets, 2 double crochets and 2 treble crochets, and then that's going to go behind this petal. So then come around and into the next single crochet of the previous round we're going to do a long single crochet. So we're going to go into the bottom of that stitch and then yarn over and pull through, pull up to the height of the top of the stitch and complete your single crochet like so, and then just pop that leaf behind. Okay, there we go. It's our petal and our leaf. Okay, so you're going to repeat this on every for every petal. It's going to have a leaf. So you will now start with your chain 8. If you rewind the video about 3 minutes, start with your chain 8 and then do those stitches back down the chain to make your leaf, and then come behind and do your spike stitch long single crochet into this single crochet here. And if the petal goes behind like mine did, if it goes behind, then just pop it back through. Okay, and that is this round. So you'll have 10 petals, sorry, 10 leaves and 10 of these spike stitches. And when you get back to the beginning, you want to slip stitch into the top of this spike stitch. Okay, see you in a mo. Okay, so here we are when I've done all my leaves. Now they are designed to sort of curl up a little bit and be a little sort of 3D like so. Okay, so don't panic about that at all. If you want them to lay flat, when we do the square part, which we're going to do now, you can always just tack them down if you want them to be flatter. Okay, so we're going to work on our the square part now, the background. So I've fastened off from my leaves, and I've got my colour here, the one that I used in the centre. It's always kind of good to bring these colours back in. Obviously any colour's good, but sometimes it's nice to just bring these colours back in and kind of brings it all together. And I sound like I know what I'm talking about there. I've seen some of your photos in group and you have such better colour combinations than I have. So I don't really know what I'm doing telling you about colour combinations, but there we go. I am going to reuse my cream. So what you want to do is join this colour, whatever colour it may be, join your colour on the back. Just for this one round we're going to join on the back. You could sew these tails in first if you want to, but I'm going to do it later because the back will be left open, so that you will still be able to sew these in. So you want to attach it to the back of one of your long single crochets from the previous round. Okay, so into one of these spike stitches, join your yarn. Okay, now we're going to make a square of chains. Okay, now we are chaining 7, but if your chains are bigger or smaller. You might need to chain a few more or a few less. Okay, so just see how you go, and I'll talk you through whether you need to adjust it or not. So first of all, chain 7. Okay, and then what you're going to do, we're not going to be joining into the same places each time because we need to make this square. So you've got leaf 1, 2 and 3. So this third petal round you want to join with a slip stitch around this treble crochet, or you could join in the side. Okay, but around this treble crochet, do a slip stitch. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing here. Silly yarn, silly hook, silly Joe. Okay, now if this is really slack and sloppy, you might want to undo and take off a chain or two. Okay, if it's really loose and floppy. If it's pulling your work in, so if mine's quite flat under there, but if it's pulling the work in, then undo and add a chain or two. Okay, but mine seems to be quite just about right, which is good. So then you want to chain 7 more, and we're now going to join 1, 2, 3, so the next third petal round, and you're going to join into this 1, 2, 3. You're going to join into this spike stitch here just before, so 1, 2, and this spike stitch. So skip a spike stitch, so 1, 2 spike stitches, and then slip stitch around the third. Okay, I'm making quite a meal of this round, aren't I? So I do apologise for that. Oh my gosh. Okay, we'll be fine. Chain 7 or 8 or 6, whichever you found you need. Okay, this time we're going to skip 2 petals and slip stitch around that treble crochet of the third petal as we did before. And our last chains of 7, and we're going to slip stitch back where we started. So there's so many tails going on here. Slip stitch back around where we started, and you should have a square of chains. There we go. Okay, you can see my square around all those tails going on. Sorry, I should have sewn those in so you could see a bit better what I was doing, but don't panic because we're going to work on the other side now and turn it over and work on the other side around these chains. Okay, we're not turning it over just yet. We're going to do the first round on the back because these petals and leaves are just going to hide it anyway. So what we're going to do is a round of double crochets. So we're going to chain 3 for our first double crochet, and then we are going to work 8 double crochets along this chain space. So the other sides will have 9 double crochets because we've got the chain here as well. So work 8 double crochets around this chain, and when you get to your corner, chain 2. Okay, so 8 double crochets, chain 2, and then start working on the other side, which is where you are going to make 9 double crochets. Okay, let's did that one a bit too fast. So let's have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there we go. So 8 double crochets along there. I counted 9 with my chain, and then you're going to chain 2 to take you around the corner, and then 9 along this next side chain 2, then 9, chain 2, then 9, chain 2, and then slip stitch to the top of your chain 3. Okay, so now we're going to turn and work from the other side, from the front of our work. So turn it around and then just slip stitch over into your chain space, okay? And then you're going to chain 3 as the first double crochet and do 2 more double crochet in that chain space. And then chain 2 and 3 more double crochet. So your corners will be 3 double crochet, chain 2 and 3 double crochet. Okay, so that's your corner, 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet, and then you're going to chain 1, skip 3 stitches, and then in the next 3 stitches you're going to do a double crochet. So chain 1, skip 3, and then 3 double crochet, 1 in each of the next 3 stitches. Okay, and then chain 1, skip the next 3 stitches, and then you'll be back to your corner, and that is that round. And we basically are starting a granny square now. So skip those stitches and then do your corner of 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet, and then when you come to the next side you're going to chain 1, skip 3 stitches, 3 double crochet, chain 1, skip 3 stitches, and 3 more, and then your corner, okay, all the way around, and slip stitch in the top of your chain 3 when you get to the beginning. Okay, so there we go at the end of that round. You're just starting to see it come from the back now. So this is what we've got. I'll just turn it over so you can see. There we go. Okay, so what we're going to do now is like a granny square. We are going to work into the spaces and not the stitches, okay? So we are going to slip stitch across to the corner. So slip stitch across. Oops. Helps if I go into the stitch, doesn't it really? So slip stitch across to your corner, and then do your corner the same as before. So chain 3 for your first double crochet, and then make 2 more double crochets, and then chain 2, and then 3 double crochet. So your corners will be exactly the same as before, 3 double crochet, chain 2 and 3 double crochet. Okay, and then we're going to chain 1 and skip the 3 stitches and do 3 double crochet into that chain space. Okay, nice and simple, just as you would work a granny square. Then chain 1 and do 3 double crochet in the next space. Oops, there we go, and then chain 1 and you're back to your corner. Okay, so do that all the way around, and again slip stitch into the top of your chain 3 when you get back to the beginning, and I'll see you around there. And there we go at the end of round 10. So looking good, looking good. So the last round is a round of single crochets. Now depending on how tightly or how loosely you crochet, you may need more than just a single crochet round, in which case you could choose to do a either a bigger stitch, or you could just keep doing rounds of single crochet until it comes up to the right size. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to do single crochets, and I'm probably going to need at least 2 rounds. So I'm going to do a round in this colour, and then I'm going to finish with a round of my flower colour. Okay, if you want to change colour, then change in the corner space is the best place to change. But if you're continuing, then just stay, continue from where you are, because we are just going to, if you're doing single crochet, just chain 1 and then do a single crochet in that same stitch. if you're doing half double crochet, if you choose to do that, do chain 2 and count that as your first stitch. Double crochet, chain 3 and count that as your first stitch. And then do 1 stitch into each stitch along. In your corner, we're going to do 3 stitches. And then along again, you're going to do 1 in each stitch. And 1 in each chain space. Okay, so 1 in each stitch, 1 in each chain space, and 3 in your corners. And then when you get back to the beginning, you want to slip stitch into your first single crochet, or if you have done a chain for a half double crochet or double, then slip stitch into the top of your chain just as you usually would. And so I'm going to do this round, and then I'm going to do a round of my flower colour, and then I will come back and show you my finished square. So I'll leave you to do yours in whichever stitch you fancy, whatever stitch size you need, and I'll see you in a moment. And there we go, I've done my rounds. I actually did a half double crochet on the outside. There we go, that's our square finished. And like I said, it is designed to sort of curl a bit and sort of cup slightly. If I tilt this, you can see it's sort of cupping a bit in the centre there. Now, if all this looseness bothers you, as I said, you could just, you know, pop a stitch and just tack it down slightly. I think I would choose to leave the ends free rather than making it completely flat, just to give it some texture. But you could tack down some of this so it's not quite so liable to bunch up, but obviously that's your choice. So yes, there's some ends to sew in. I've just tucked them all under for now, but I think you'll agree it's worth it. So I hope you've enjoyed making this square up with me, and you found this video useful and helpful. If you have, then please don't forget to click that like button and give us a thumbs up. And I can't wait to see your photos of this lovely cactus flower in our Facebook group, and the link for that is below as well. So until next time, just keep hooking and don't let your tea get cold.